Welcome back for another video. No more blank game weeks. We've got 3 single game weeks and 3 double game weeks. That's what remains, and the schedule is locked in for the rest of the season now, so we know what we're working towards. In this video we'll dig into which players to buy for both Gameweek 33 and the remainder of the season. Before we get into it, as we approach the final stretch of the season, I strongly recommend becoming a Fantasy Football Scout member. You can join for only 1 month and benefit from the endless FPL tools available, such as player comparison, projected points and custom data tables. All the stats I mention in videos come from my tables and I've made them public for you to use. On top of that, becoming a member supports the channel as well, so to try it out click the link at the top of the description. Big thanks to Scout for their support. So starting off with the goalkeepers, both Pope and Steele are joint top for Gameweek 33, up against Everton and Nottingham Forest respectively. If you're not tripled up on Brighton already, you want to get there very soon, as they play more games than anyone else in what's left of the season. They've got double Gameweek 34, 36 and 37. Steele did miss the last match entirely with a minor injury, but he has been back in training since, so if you're looking for a goalkeeper and you've got a Brighton slot available, he's a very good option. As shown by the next 5 projections, Steele's actually top in the league as well. Newcastle have just 1 double game week on the other hand, which is in Gameweek 36 against Leeds and Brighton. It's a small double game week with Newcastle and Brighton the only 2 doubling that week. Given the constant uncertainty in Man City's starting 11, Ederson's actually a reasonable goalkeeper to consider. However, this week he does face Arsenal. Man City have one of the best fixture runs of all teams for the remainder, with a double in Gameweek 34, which is against Fulham and West Ham, and another double in Gameweek 37 against Chelsea and Brighton. Man City are best in the league for expected goals conceded this season. The downside is that Ederson generally has a ceiling of 6 points. Because their defence is so good, he makes few save points, but he's a secure route into that fixture run. The only other goalkeeper worth highlighting is Alisson, as a cheaper route into the Liverpool defence. In terms of points per mil, he's comfortably the best value option. He's returned 24.4 points this season per million, whereas Trent's returned 15.5 points per mil and Robertson 14.6. Alisson's also top in the league for expected goals prevented. Moving on to the defenders, and Trippier's top this week. Again, with upcoming doubles in mind, you want to try and get yourself into a position where you're tripled up in Gameweek 36. The best way of going about that might well be Trippier and one other Newcastle defender along with Isak. Little separates the other Newcastle defenders. After Trippier shares the next highest for expected goal involvement over the season, but he does set you back 5.1 mil, so only consider it if you've got no extra use for that cash. Bernard Botman for 4.5 mil also worth considering. Estepinian and Dunk are dead even both in Gameweek 33 and over the next 5. Estepinian carries the attacking threat bombing down the left, but given the very condensed schedule there could be a chance of a rest at some point. He's got 9 games over the next month. Therefore Dunk is the safer route into the defence, who is guaranteed to play, and perhaps left-footed Colwell gets 1 game in left back. He has played there before. We've also seen Lamptey play there sparingly as well. James and Chilwell are back on the projections this week, home to Brentford, but they've been so unconvincing under Lampard, losing every game so far, so despite their upcoming double, it might be worth looking to sell for a Liverpool or Newcastle defender. Moreno sneaks in with 3.7 projected points against Fulham. They are playing at home as well, and they're even fighting for a European spot, sitting just outside, so it could be a great differential. However, bear in mind that Aston Villa have no doubles for the remainder of the season. If you've got a Newcastle slot, then Share, Botman or Burn make more sense, even if doubled up with Trippier. Onto the midfielders, and Salah remains a priority transfer with 5.9 projected points this week away to West Ham on Wednesday. He's scored in 3 games in a row now, 4 goals in 3. A definite differential captain if you are chasing and you don't want to back Haaland against Arsenal for that reason. Rashford is back from injury now and he's available for the Spurs game in Gameweek 33. Though his expected minutes are a little low, hence just returning from injury, and he comes in at the bottom of the table with 4.2 points at 70 estimated minutes. McAllister's marginally ahead of Mitoma and March this week, but the latter 2 remain my favourites personally. Veltman did pick up an injury last match, which could lead to Gross playing in right back, which could have a knock-on effect, and McAllister playing deeper. It's what we saw last match, so March and Mitoma are the 2 to own. Buendia is high on the projections this week, but avoid him as he takes up a valuable midfield spot. Looking at the doubles ahead, there's many mids you'll want. In Gameweek 34, March, Mitoma, Salah, Rashford, Bruno, Grealish etc. all look like great picks, and there's only 5 spots to fill. Onto the forwards, and it's an interesting one this week with Haaland on 5.8 points and Salah's on 5.9 on the page before. It takes a brave manager to bet against Haaland at this point in the season, but if you are looking for a leg up your mini league or overall rank, then it could be a risk worth taking. It's the biggest game of the season for both Arsenal and Man City. The winner puts themselves in a position to potentially go on to win the league, and could that lead to a cagey game? In the reverse fixture, Haaland scored in a Man City win at the Emirates for 6 points in total. If Saliba's still out, then that could be a deciding factor. Arsenal have really struggled defensively without him, conceding in every game since. Watkins is projected 5.4 this week. It's a better fixture after a disappointing blank against Brentford. He's home to Fulham. Despite some tougher games on the horizon and lack of blanks, don't be put off by getting him, especially before Fulham at home. Under Emery, he's netted against very good teams like Arsenal, Man City and Newcastle. If you're looking for an enabler to free up funds for a transfer like Salah in midfield, then Solanke's a standout, not far behind Watkins for projections over the next 5 either, and he's far cheaper than any other forward listed here. He has Southampton and Leeds up next, and in Gameweek 38 he faces Everton, which is another game you might want to use him in. It's important at this point to check how your team will look in later game weeks, particularly the doubles in 36 and 37 and the final match in 38. If Isak can hold down the striker spot, he just might be the best captain for Newcastle's double in 36. It's a week where Brighton are away to Arsenal and Newcastle, so Isak or Trippier could be the ones. The risk with Isak is Wilson, who we expect will continue to eat away at his minutes, potentially even start a game ahead of him here and there in what remains of the season. Let me know in the comments what your transfer plans are. It's a packed couple of days of FPL content with the Tuesday deadline around the corner. See you soon for the next one.